All right, folks, welcome to 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏TV. I'm going to be joined with 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 today. He's joining me from the airport. There's a little bit of a delay. I guess it's coming from our end on StreamYard, but so it's going to be a little bit of a delayed conversation. But, folks, you want to get ready for this podcast because arrests are imminent. That's what we're hearing. And everything is lining up perfectly, especially with the new executive order that Trump signed. But could that lead to military deployment on the streets once the arrests start? How is this going to play out? We cover much more of this on 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏TV. You're going to want to go there, folks. For the last 5 years, I've been covering this, telling you that the boomerang is coming and what's going to happen after that, especially Wanito. So that's all being discussed on 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏TV. We're going to get into it, folks. Hit the notification buttons. You're not going to want to miss any episode from here moving forward. I'm going to be covering this extensively, at least to what I can on FluffTube, right? To the duration of how I do this. I don't know exactly how I'm going to cover all this on YouTube, but 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏TV, you will get extensive coverage. Folks, Venmo, 𝗑-ROD1977, 𝗑-ROD1977. It's very different to do this in my hotel room, by the way. I'm in Austin, Texas, and I just did a Jamie Kennedy. I don't know if you guys remember Jamie Kennedy, Jamie Kennedy experiment, Malibu Gangster, Harold and Kumar. This guy's been on tons of different movies. Great guy. And I did my first ever in-person podcast with Jamie Kennedy. I also did Sean Patrick. I also did Sean Patrick Flannery. No, but I did Sean Patrick Flannery, but that was over Zoom. Great stuff, man. I had 2 great killer podcasts, and I'm in Austin, Texas, and I got to tell you, folks, the youth has changed. Things have changed here. It's very hipster, but very feminine. Very feminine. Nobody cares about being masculine anymore. That's not a thing. Especially in Austin, Texas. When I used to come out here to Austin, Texas, it used to be, very masculine, very college-rich town, rednecks, conservatives. Now it's very liberal. It's very liberal, and everyone's getting their lattes and conversating and on their little laptops with their little pasty white fingers, just doing their work. It's the way it is now, folks. Everything's changed. All the youth has changed. I don't know where this is going, especially with AI and everything coming down the pipeline. I don't know where the future of humanity is going. I'm not very optimistic on it, to be honest. But anyway, I'll talk about that on a different show. But first, folks, get your noble gold. Here's the hard truth. Every 6 years, your dollar loses half its buying power. That's $100,000 in savings today. It could feel like $50,000 by 2031. But there's a way to protect and preserve your money, and that is gold, folks. Get your gold. Noble Gold Investments makes it easy to own gold or silver. No pressure, no call centers, just honest one-on-one support. Open a qualified account and get a free 10-ounce silver American flag bar. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com, noblegoldinvestments.com, folks. Get started on it and preserve your wealth. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏TV, that's where you want to be. If you're not hitting the notification buttons right now, you got to do it, folks. On this channel, at least, please just take your thumb and go click notifications. That's all you got to do. The notification buttons. Please like and subscribe. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 be there. I'm the news before the news, baby. That's the way it is. But I have Sean Patrick Flannery, the uncensored version, going up on there. I have Jamie Kennedy in person, my first in-person podcast ever with Jamie Kennedy. That's going up. SG Anon, I'll be talking to him today. That's going up on there. The Ghost is coming on. 𝗬𝗂𝗍𝗑𝗍, talking about the Catholic Church. Is there going to be another pope? I'll be having him on. And I think Juan was the one that told me to bring him on. So I reached out and I got him. I'll be talking to him very soon. I also have Sean Taylor talking about the more deep state funding. That's coming on. 𝗬𝗏 is constant on there with updates. He's been a national treasure for my audience, man. 𝗬𝗏. And I have Ryan Mata right now on Nino's Corner talking about human trafficking and how the details on how this shit has been going down in this country. We are the #1 consumer of human trafficking. And he goes into detail on how it's being done. This guy, unbelievable information on ninoscorner.tv. All right, folks, and without further ado, I'm going to be screaming from my hotel room. Are you ready? Coming at you live from the apocalypse, folks. Oh, yeah, Austin, Texas, baby. Yeah, Austin, Texas. So, first 100 days of Trump. I say he's accomplished more in 100 days than other presidents have in 4 to 8 years. If you want my honest opinion, it's been a huge turnaround, and we are now in the boomerang. So, like I've said, for 5 years now, you can go back and look at my podcasts. I've said we're approaching a time when things are going to come back, and everything that happened to Trump, he's going to do to them. The seal has been broken. So, who said that there was going to be a gut punch? Wanito. Wanito has, with most certainty, called, I would say, 90% of the shots that have happened, and that's why I keep bringing him on. And that's why I know you appreciate Juan's candid intel and batter that we conversation that we go back and forth with. So I'm going to be bringing him on in just a few minutes. But first, I know Juan can hear me. He's in the back room listening. So I'm going to read this executive order that Trump just signed, at least just a couple paragraphs so we can all get acquainted with it. Strengthening and unleashing America's law enforcement to pursue criminals and protect innocent citizens. Now, this was signed April 28th, 2025. What is this? Well, by the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered. Section 1, purpose and policy. Safe communities rely on the backbone of heroism of a tough and well-equipped police force. My administration is steadfastly committed to empowering state and local law enforcement to firmly police dangerous criminal behavior and protect innocent citizens. When local leaders demonize law enforcement and impose legal and political handcuffs that make aggressively enforcing the law impossible, crime thrives and innocent citizens and small business owners suffer. My administration will therefore establish best practices at the state and local level for cities to unleash high-impact local police forces, protect and defend law enforcement officers wrongly accused and abused by state and local officials, and surge resources to officers in need. My administration will work to ensure that law enforcement officers across America focus on ending crime, not pursuing harmful, illegal race and sex-based equity policies. The result will be a law-abiding society in which tenacious law enforcement officers protect the innocent. Violations of law are not tolerated, and American communities are safely enjoyed by all their citizens. Again, now you're probably thinking to yourself, what does this mean? Does this mean a police state? I'm going to ask Juan more about this. I'm going to ask Juan a lot more about this. When I bring him on, folks, I'll every now and then I'll interject with an article to read, because that's the way I do my morning shows. But the fact that I'm bringing him on for a morning show is a big deal, and I appreciate everyone who's tuning in. I think we're live on X, but if you want to be a winner of the gift card giveaway, you have to be on my YouTube channel. So if you're on YouTube, that's what helps the algorithm. I would appreciate if you're watching from X, please go to my YouTube channel and just get crazy in the comments, post on there, use caps, whatever you got to do. Just be part of the conversation, and we'll pick you to win the gift card. No, wait, not today. Today's not the gift card, right, Alex? That's Mondays.
Right, yeah, that'll be on Monday.
Oh, my bad. Okay, so we're going to be doing the call-ins today, right?
Yeah, call-ins at the end.
We'll do a few call-ins today. So anyone that's going to be calling in, we'll be doing call-ins today. So Donald Trump's new order sparks martial law concerns. Now, this is going crazy all over the internet. President Donald Trump has ordered federal agencies to increase a flow of military and national security equipment to local law enforcement, a move that has raised concerns about the militarization of policing across the United States. Will the military be deployed? Research into militarized police forces has found the practice can erode public trust, escalate encounters between police and citizens, and blur the distinction between military operations and domestic law enforcement. This executive order specifically has increased fears around an encroachment toward martial law. The president has already called for his government to review the Insurrection Act, which would give more domestic power to the military, and now wants to provide regular law enforcement with militaristic material. Tongue twister right there. Yeah. So, what to know? The strengthening and unleashing America's law enforcement to pursue criminals and protect innocent citizens executive order, which the president signed on Monday, directs Attorney General Pam Bondi and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth in consultation with Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem and other agency heads to increase the provision of excess military and national security assets in local jurisdictions within 90 days. The directive gives the Attorney General and the Secretary of Defense a 3-month deadline to begin expanding the provision of military and national security resources to assist state and local law enforcement. While the order does not specify the types of equipment that will be made available, past programs involving the transfer of military gear to police departments have included armored vehicles, tactical equipment, and surveillance technology. What the hell do the police need with this stuff? Well, we're going to find out. Juanito, can you hear me? El Juanito.
Nino.
Well, Juan, what does this mean? What does this mean for America? What does this mean for the citizens? Are we entering a police state? Are we going into martial law? Is this going to be all implemented when they start doing a mass arrests?
Well, let me just say this, Nino, and let me segue into it just for a second. I'm seeing, Braniff Airways. I actually remember flying on Braniff. I flew on Air Cal, PSA, Air California. Who doesn't remember Pan American? Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Pan American. I mean, Royal West, I flew on them. Casino Express, never flew on them. That sounds like would have been a fun one. The last of the Antonov 225s got burned up in Ukraine. Hughes West, oh my gosh, Hughes came in with the first discount airlines. He really did that. Western Airlines, oh my gosh, a powerhouse. We got stolen away with Western, of course, the British Airways with their Concorde. Beautiful stuff. The reason I mentioned that with the aircraft, Nino, this is a big country. There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot of people. Every time something happens, it's the end of the world. It's all going to be over. We're going down the drain. Chicken Littles everywhere. It's going to be, the latest variation of some, cold or flu. And it's the end of the world. I remember, with this, we brought in some people out of Africa to understand the situation on one of the diseases out of there. Next thing you know, everybody's telling truckers, don't go to Texas. They just brought the patient there. And in 60 days, America won't exist. Give me a freaking break. Come on. Sharpen up, everybody. Yes, if we have any problem here in the country, thank God we have military available to us to supplement local police to bring it under control.
But will the military?
That's what they're there for.
But will the military be deployed when the arrests begin?
Well, let's think about this, Nino. Let's be clear what's going on. I've got multiple different contacts. I got a pretty wide swath of people that are now stepping away, stepping aside. Some of them in the public have publicly stated that they are now going dark. And these are big time names. This isn't just riffraff. because they've been tasked for certain assignments. And at a very high level, there's a particular person that everybody in this audience knows that just days ago made a statement, okay, well, I'm off the grid for a bit. I've got to prep for my next assignment, and I've accepted it. And we'll get back to you.
Can you say who this was?
I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you. He wants to tell you, he'll tell you. But we've had other people in the public eye that have at various places stated in larger conversations pulled out. And very precisely, these are exactly the kind of people that will be needed to assist as arrest happens. There's both a prosecutorial and a defense side, and it's not going to be handled by the Justice Department because these are war crimes, multiple war crimes committed against America. And once you start on that road, there's multiple different kinds of war crimes that have been committed against not just America, but the world. It's Nuremberg 2.0, right? So you name your poison. Okay, which one do you think is going to be first and how are they going to go about it? Russia, which blocked Trump, almost took him out of the election 2016 with falsehoods, a coordinated attack. But then once he got into office, continued with the bullshit all the way up to the 2020 election, where 51 intelligence officers, interesting number, came out and said that the Hunter Biden laptop was a obvious Russian disinformation plot and that it wasn't real and affected the election because some people listen to that shit, okay? By the way, how many people are listening? I had one of the things that I get based on media stuff the other day, and they were showing a 1 week listenership for CNN, and it was under 80,000.
Yeah, I saw that.
Can you imagine, could you, in your wildest dreams, 4, 8, 10 years ago, have imagined that CNN would have fallen down to 80,000? Nino, you do that standing on your head in 1 or 2 shows.
Yeah.
Okay. Even with a peripheral side interview with somebody that's not even, that, pivotal in what's going on in the world. But by the way, thank you for getting 𝗬𝗃𝗍𝗶𝗹 on. He kind of goes by Leo, I guess. We say it Leo here in the West, but it's actually 𝗬𝗃𝗍𝗶𝗹.
Juan, let me just interrupt you just for 1 second because I'm still doing my morning show. I'm going to be taking call-ins today. Do you want to take some super chats from the callers, from the audience? Will you answer some questions and take some call-ins?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I've been noticing on the news, Wanito, Beto O'Rourke is reemerging. He's like the turd that won't flush. Kamala Harris is starting to pick up speaking engagements. She's doing kind of it almost looks like a rally. I've seen AOC. Are they trying to jockey and position their next big Democratic star? We're going to see where the crowds flock to.
Well, again, they have nowhere to go. They, once the media money got taken away with USAID and some of the other stuff, who's going to hire them? They're doing the best they can to try and get out there and rally their troops, but there's really no troops to rally. Yeah, they're in trouble. And so, and they're not getting their stuff paid. Remember, think of the flip, Nino. How many people, Air Force One, the old version, how many people within this audience were once doing media stuff in YouTube or any of the other platforms, and they got demonetized, and so now they're just listening to you, Nino? How close did you come to being completely demonetized yourself? Okay,
we're not even going to talk about that on YouTube.
Well, but again, let me just say it this way: these people are getting the flip side of that, because now they're in trouble. because the
Right.
world's going a different direction. And the money that was paying to propagandize all of your audience, that's been choked off. There's a tourniquet on it. That's the attacks on USAID and multiple other funding sources that were really American taxpayers paying to, for the rope to hang themselves. And that's what has been attacked and reversed, even in this first 100 days. Think of that, only 100 days. How many times have you heard stuff, even in the last few weeks? Nothing's happening until I see arrest. Nothing's happening. Well, okay, look, let me just say this. Imagine the apostles that went to the tomb and the stone is rolled away. They looked inside, and the clothing that the wrap that had been put around Christ's body was neatly folded and sitting there on the bench where he'd been laid, okay? They come out, they're running around, they're finding the other apostles. You won't believe it. You cannot believe this. Nobody knows. Oh my gosh, he's risen, he's risen. They get to Thomas. And Thomas has given him that look. He's the one sane person left in the whole freaking city. By the way, in the scriptures, it talks about the fact that many others also rose on that day. Imagine, these people had a near-death experience. We buried grandma. She was dead. Everybody was here. The priest was here. And then you're, sitting there morning breakfast, reading the newspaper, and grandma walks in the door. I mean, where's she going to go? She's going home. And many of the whole city was turned upside down. You get to Thomas. No, it's not real. You guys, okay, you had a dream. Who was eating chili last night? Do you guys all go to the same place? Did you have a drink? What's going on? Thomas wasn't going to be that dense until he said it. If I don't put my hand in his hand where the nail prints are, I put it in his side where I was standing there. I saw him stick the sword inside him. He was dead. Water and blood came out, man, which, by the way, is indicative of a broken heart. When your heart breaks, if you have a heart attack and it breaks literally, you'll get oil and water. There's a sac around the heart. So, blood and water will come out at the same time. So the heart sac had broken. He was dead before the soldier stuck the sword in there. And that's how the water and the blood came out at the same time. So here Christ is. He presents himself, and then he understands. Actually, Thomas was the one guy that he wasn't just going to be flippant. He wasn't like Peter. Peter, you could say anything. Well, we think we should do this. Okay, I'm in. Peter, he's out fishing, and Christ calls him, and he jumps out of the boat, runs over, and he's in. Okay, he's impetuous. Thomas is the exact opposite, and yet God himself didn't judge him and didn't go after him because he was not going to be easily taken off in some story, etc. So we got a bunch of Thomases out there. I'm not upset about it. I am kind of ripping them in the sides, and I'm going to continue to do so as this builds out. But it's coming. It's very real.
Let me say this. What is it going to look like when it begins? When the first domino falls, what's going to happen? Is that why it's kind of like right now we're taking down the henchmen, the cartels, so that they can't disrupt the takedowns?
Well, of course, that started day one. I was there when Trump was reading or being doing the inaugural speeches, because he did a couple of them there. But within the first few minutes of the speech after he was sworn in, I had people in the room and other people texting me that they were just then getting orders and military and reporting times and locations. I'm like, really? That fast? Okay, well, we had that the first term too, by the way, that most people didn't know about it because it was other places. New Zealand, I think, being the most interesting, if you know what was going on there. But they were already being sent. Where were they being sent to? What were they being deployed on? Right out of the box, as Trump came in, they had arrest orders for the heads of many of these gangs that were out of foreign countries, as he was signing these executive orders going after these gang leaders. They went out and picked them up. You know where they took them? They took them down to 𝗫𝗏. They showed it on the video for the Doubting Thomases. Other people have been watching it. It was even on CNN and like that. Yeah, they picked up these gang leaders from these places around the world where they'd come here, and they took down to 𝗫𝗏. They've been being interrogated all the way along. Okay, they're not having happy days.
People want to. We understand the gang members, Wanito, but when are we going to see the politicians, the CEO? I know the CEOs have already stepped down. Things like that have been happening for a while now. But when are we going to see, in public view, the first arrest?
Well, you've seen the first arrests, but it wasn't the ones that people wanted to see within, say, our crowd, okay? In these first weeks, you still haven't gotten all the staff sorted out, say, over at Justice Department. They're still, in fact, right now today, a bunch of the Justice Department staff have, just hours, I think, left to accept an offer to leave and, take a few months paid and go to other staff, attorneys like that don't like what Trump is doing, the new tone that he's set within the Justice Department, okay? So you want to have arrests, okay, who's going to prosecute it? You're going to have arrests. Do you have the right people there legally to receive people at places like 𝗫𝗏?
Okay, so that's being set up right now, correct?
Right this second. What has to happen within even your audience, okay? You Doubting Thomases, take a deep breath. Shit is going down right now. And you don't, I had a drag boat that was very fast years ago. And I let somebody go out and use it. I said, you got to ease into it and get up on a plane. They'll flip that sucker right over on its back. What do? And this is somebody that had raced boats for a long time, but, he was used to racing lower horsepower. And I told him, I says, you got to ease into it. He goes out, eases into it the first couple of times, no problem, comes back in and hits the freaking hot throttle hard, flips that sucker right over on its back. You can't do that when you have something that's that powerful, that strong. You need to let the personnel assemble, make sure that everything's working. You run some stuff. That's why getting these gang leaders down there, getting things in position, making sure everybody knows their responsibilities. That takes a little time.
This is happening in operational phases, correct, Wanito?
Yeah, you'd be an idiot to do it any other way. And then part of this is you need the rest of the support infrastructure. So, for example, one of the people that we just had communications on, my chief of staff and a couple other people, who is stepping out of the public limelight for the time being. Well, he's got to be briefed. He has to be brought up to speed on what's expected of him. He has to know,
that's the person I speak to on over text that I continue to speak to, correct?
No.
So that's not it's a different person.
No, that's how I'm not. Yeah, totally different. This is a very high level of, I don't even want to give a hint.
Okay, we don't have to.
But yeah, but at the end of the day, extremely real. And then that person, as they take their position, will have to pick up staff that is offered to him or that he wants to choose to accomplish what he has to do. And that build out real time I don't think you can really do it much faster than about 90 days. And let me use a comparison. Look at what's going on over at the Justice Department. Now, you have to have confirmation hearings for all these different players, but you got all sorts of them that still haven't been confirmed yet. So you can't get upset that it's not going fast enough when it takes a little time to do this. Everybody needs to just take a deep breath. There's a lot of moving parts here.
Do you mind taking some questions from the audience?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let's take the first super chat, Alex. Trio Mom, there's nothing there, but she gave us, and Dale Roberts, nothing there, but thank you very much. I'm not seeing questions. Okay, finally got here in time to catch Nino live. Did you say Sean Patrick Flannery is going to be on one of your podcasts? He is an amazing in the movie Nefarious. He should have won Best Actor for that movie. Yes, I just completed the podcast. That's going to be on ninoscorner.tv and YouTube, the censored version on YouTube, then the rest on .tv. So yes, I did. That was an amazing podcast. It was awesome. I love talking to him. He's a real down-to-earth, salt-of-the-earth type of guy. Nino, I could hardly sleep last night after hearing Badass Ryan. What can I do to help these angels? I have to do something. Remember Girls in Chains? Yes. Ryan delivered a lot of information on .tv. Go check it out. Great Patriot. That guy's boots on the ground, getting involved with trafficking and exposing it at levels I've never seen before. Brave guy doing it on his own dime. Next one, please. Great time to be American. Carolyn May, you're awesome. I agree with you. Cindy Ray, Nino, Juan, what is going to be done to offset these corrupt judges trying to block deporting all the illegals, not just the ones that committed more crimes that illegally crossing the border? So what's going to happen to these judges, Wanito?
Well, actually, we just have to process these people different. So they may get something that they don't like because actually the question is, are the people that are being deported, are they do they fit within the category of, say, a terrorist? Are they an enemy combatant? So it was actually my chief of staff and a few other people back in 2004 or 5 that set up the processing system for Gitmo for some of these prisoners that were being brought in post 9/11. And they created a procedure to validate that people that were there brought in actually fit the proper category to be at Gitmo as opposed to return to their own countries. They were just bringing in everybody. And that process of evaluation and categorization has already been done. The suggestion was made into the administration the other day that they actually needed to, for those particular types of prisoners going to that location, they needed to be processed that way. So, for example, with the gang member that went to El Salvador, who was clearly a for real big time gang member, MS-13 member, he could have, instead of being allowed to go to prison directly, and it may end up being the way this is done, he could have gone to Gitmo. You would have avoided the U.S. courts. They'd have gone through the evaluation process, determined, in fact, that he, is an enemy combatant or has committed crimes that are terroristic, and then you could process him there in Gitmo. You could go to trial in Gitmo. They want to have people go to trial in Gitmo. We've got plenty of room, got plenty of people. Or you could decide that he is not a legal resident here in the U.S. He got here through some fraud or invalid means, and send him back to El Salvador. And they can decide what to do with him. He's their citizen, and that's what actually happened. But if you want to slow it down, we're not going to let it get slowed down into the court system. We're doing it a different way, and you'll get.
I got a lot more questions coming, but I'm going to read this first. U.S. and Ukraine sign agreement on access to natural resources. The U.S. and Ukraine reached a deal over access to Ukraine's natural resources Wednesday, a move that Kiev sought to solidify President Trump's backing in ceasefire talks with Russia. The deal will grant the U.S. privileged access to new investment projects to develop Ukraine's natural resources, including aluminum, graphite, oil, and natural gas. It's been seen as critical to nurturing Trump's goodwill toward Kiev as his administration pushes to end the war that began with Russia mounted its full-scale invasion of Ukraine more than 3 years ago. The agreement signals clearly to Russia that the Trump administration is committed to a peace process centered on a free, sovereign, and prosperous Ukraine over the long term. Wanito, what's your thoughts on this? And then Xi is extending to extend Russia's Victory Day as Zelensky hints at attacking events. So the Kremlin has confirmed Chinese President Xi Jinping will attend the Victory Day celebrations in Moscow on May 9th. What the hell's going on here, Wanito?
Well, again, let's break it up into the pieces. The Ukraine thing, look, Ukraine has plenty of money. Okay, they did a war, and everything got blasted to smithereens. They could have done other stuff to try to avoid a war. Okay, they got blasted to smithereens. We're not paying for it.
Saying that on
we got suckered in. They're paying their own way to put their country back together again with their own resources. We'll help them, but they're paying for it. We're not. The American taxpayer isn't paying.
But why is Xi
back together?
Why is he attending a Victory Day in Russia?
Well, I mean, they're kind of coordinating their actions. It's a love-hate relationship. Both of them have issues that they've got to get through now. We put Russia in extremely tight situation money-wise. In fact, stuff I've been working on over the last weekend, going through it. The sanctions have really hurt them, and then a lot of stuff where they got stressed, like we had back in the late 80s, early 90s. They're in desperate shape. They really are. But they're in better shape in some ways even than China is. China is in real trouble. There's a lot of missing population there. And so Xi, as I told your audience, the issue for Xi is, when will the people running Xi, because he's got handlers behind the scenes that are running him, they're going to decide that they're done with him. He'll have to be the black sheep. They'll assign all of the evils and wrongs and bad practices and whatever to Xi, and then they'll try to regroup with the West. He could easily have a problem, be a heart problem, be like Gorbachev and have to come to the U.S. and go hang out at the Presidio or something like that. But they're going to have to send him down the road and come up with somebody else. Will he go out, with a big bang? That's conceivable, but he's actually more reasonable. He'll try to find a golden parachute to get out of this.
All right, Wanito, let's take some more questions from the audience, and then let's take this back to ninoscorner.tv. Are you okay with that?
Sure.
Okay. And folks, go to thejennifermack.com, thejennifermack.com. I'll put it down at the bottom, and got some really cool stuff there to buy and purchase. Juan, have you ever crossed paths with Alan Richwald?
Not that I recall, no.
Okay. No, Anthony Emmer, that's a no. Jimmy Burke, thank you very much. Next question. Do you have, Lee A. Bryan says, do you have an America First Tillis replacement? I don't know what the hell that means.
I do know what they mean. Not at this time.
Okay, next question. Jimmy Burke, thank you very much. Mary Gabrielle, I want to ask Juan about the Supreme Court blocking deportations. How will that be averted?
Well, again, you're really looking at a moment where you're going to have national security move to the forefront. And of course, even when you talk about, are we going to have military on the streets or something like that, in some areas, you're going to have that happen. There's 14 cities that they already want to fall back to, that they want to have a little bit of a standoff on. Okay, well, if those cities asked for it, they wanted it,
wow.
Their leadership got away with it.
So you're still
You know, at
saying
some
that could happen?
Well, let me just say this. You know, this is a really, really, really important point. I think needs to be impressed on your audience, Nino. Let's not get ahead of our skis. There's still epic, serious drama ahead. We're just getting people into position. We haven't even got into the main body of the fight yet.
So that's what's taking so long, is positioning the chess pieces.
It's not. We're going faster than anybody has ever done in recent history. Okay, but even then, it's a process, and you have to have room for the people that aren't staying around to extricate themselves or get pushed out, and then you have to have room to bring in the new people that fit your criteria with some screening. And you know, it's not as easy as it sounds, because it's a process. It really is. Once we're more fully up to speed on the manpower, then as fast as things have gone with the executive orders, it'll start to get traction on implementation. And just telling people this is where I want you to go and what I want you to do isn't the same as it actually getting done and a basis for the rest of the next phases. We're not there. It's real number, dark to light. I think you see some of the first, you know, significant arrests. We've had several of the key players have come out and said publicly, Cash being one of them, that be prepared for high profile arrests.
Right. Hold on, Alex, can you play the Tom Homan video I sent you, the post where Tom Homan, obviously you could tell Tom Homan knows something here. Go ahead, Alex, play it.
So the president signed an executive order this week threatening to defund sanctuary cities for the policies. Why not you arrest the leaders who are harboring and shielding illegal aliens, actually terrorists, from deportation?
Wait to see what's coming.
Wait till you see what's coming. I mean, he's saying it right there, Wanito. Wait till you see that's coming. What's coming?
Yeah.
I mean, this is.
But you see, that's the point. We're getting past where all of this bullshit talk, where people think that they're going to stop what this administration wants to do with a bunch of BS. The reality is, no. They're just getting started. They're just getting, you know, yesterday, I'll tell you what, yesterday, I had people in a meeting with the president in the White House, in the Oval Office, being briefed on a particular situation. The president called for that briefing. They gave him the briefing. Some of the legal stuff related to that got filed today, this morning. Nobody knew that was coming. He wanted to know what the status was on a particular issue. And they briefed him, and then he was let know that there was a legal filing happening today that accomplished what he wanted to get done, or gets it moving that direction. Then in the afternoon, one of the players that was in the morning meeting is at this afternoon meeting with other key players and being briefed, and it was pretty epic. It's the kind of stuff that this audience wants, getting details on the procedures to do some pretty epic work. I have to be careful how I say it.
Let's talk about
within
that
the policing section.
Right.
But the reason I say that is those meetings, and we had senators that flew in for that meeting just to be present in the room to hear the briefing also. The kind of level of stuff that was taking place there is exactly what this audience wants to hear. Somewhere down the road, they'll get to hear about it, but right now, it is just coming together in an amazing way. All I can tell you is, you know, keep your ear to the ground.
All right, Juan, let's
get a freight train. You know, and by the way, you know, listen, they can blow it off as though it's not happening. Okay, fine, go ahead. It is happening though, and you can poo-poo it, but we're the real ones, not those that are saying it's not happening. It's happening
Oh,
so fast. Everything that everybody's dreamed and wondered and everything else, it's happening exactly as I told you it would. Exactly.
you're right,
Take a deep
100%,
breath.
and that's
You
why I
watch.
keep bringing you on. You keep
Well,
nailing it. Wanito, I got another question for you.
yeah.
Is General Flynn in line to be the next NSA? Love you both, Nino and Juan.
You know, he's in a beautiful position. That's not the one, according to my understanding, but he's going to do something really important, and I think people will be very amazed, provided he accepts, which I've heard that there was an acceptance, but until it happens, let's see what happens. You know, and by the way,
Next question.
for those people that want to keep saying that Flynn's somehow not the right guy, well, you watch. Trump's going to have been very well served by him over the last several years with things that he did. And even where he may have had differences of opinion or challenges, Nino, you and I enjoy your company. You're a great friend. You have a fantastic audience. Do we agree on everything? No. That's part of what makes us both sharp. Because if I get challenged, I got to think about, okay, how do I explain this in a way that you'll understand it? Or did I miss something because you're hearing something within your audience that I haven't thought through all the way that I need to dial into the equation, right? So, but you can have a difference of opinion. And let me just say this. What Flynn was doing all along was guaranteeing, as far as in his mind, what was he thinking when he was challenging the president on certain things, even talking about maybe having to run for president. From his side, the way he sees things, let me ask this audience, who would have been in any kind of position, whether you left Flynn or not, who would have been the person that would have fit where we're at mentally, emotionally within this audience if that bullet had been an inch further over?
It would have been game
Trump.
over. It would have been.
Who would have you put into the Republican side of the fight?
Nobody.
Who was on deck?
Maybe Flynn. Maybe Flynn.
What Flynn was trying to do was create at least an option of, a faithful secondary party being able to step forward in a critical moment. You got all your eggs in one basket.
So we do have him on deck.
He's on deck. He's in the thing. He has a little different viewpoints and some things than the president does. But you know what? They talk multiple times a week and have all along. When a critical moment came last summer and Trump needed somebody to go vet some information that was hypercritical to the country, to the world, you know who he called on? Flynn. Flynn dropped everything, went, spent the time with the interpreters, went through it, came back and gave the president what he needed to know. Trump trusts him.
All right, let's get to the next question. When and how do we get to gold-backed currency, Wanito?
Well, it's a process. Again, you don't want to overdo it and then blow the whole thing apart. You could do that and have a disaster. So, anyway.
Okay. All right, next question. When will Trump have his appointed and candidates selected in field positions for this theater to come to a close? What's your country?
All right.
Juan, are you going to go right now?
Say
All
again?
right, folks. All right, you're going on the team.
Mr. Willett.
Well, he says,
Yes.
when will Trump have his appointed or candidates selected in field positions for this theater to come to a close? Wanito, I think you're breaking up.
Yeah, if I accidentally hit mute there. Sorry there.
Juan, I'll let you board the
Say that
plane.
one more time.
Okay, when will Trump have his appointed or candidates selected in field positions for this theater to finally come to a close? It's happening now, correct?
Well, it's a process. You don't have to have it fully done. You just have to have it done enough
Juan,
that
can
you
we finish
move
it?
on
Can
with
we,
some of these positions.
Juan, you're getting on the plane. Can we finish this on
Yeah.
ninoscorner.tv? All right, let's get to ninoscorner.tv when you land.
We certainly can.
All right, I'll see you there, Wanito.
All right,
We'll
bro.
finish this extensively. All right, thank you for joining me, Juan.
All right.
All right, Alex. All right, folks. So I'm going to finish this on ninoscorner.tv. You're going to want to get there because this is beginning. Believe me when I tell you it's going this direction. I don't know when the first this is going to happen, but it's going to be sooner than later. It's going in this direction. ninoscorner.tv is a place to be, folks. I'm not going to take any calls. The maid is asking me, ¿Quieres toallas, David, Mr. David, Mr. David? Do you want your towels, Mr. David? So I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I want to go get a cup of coffee and relax. But I brought on Wanito for my audience. Monday will be gift card giveaways. So we're going to be doing the gift card giveaways. Wednesday is Patriot Wear half off. You can win a chance to get Patriot Wear half off. And then Fridays are call-ins. But, folks, this was a last-second thing that I put together. So I appreciate everyone tuning in. And I'm going to read. I got to end with the what the fuck news. So let's do that. What the fuck news and what the fuck news. What the fuck news. Southern California homeowner finds hidden camera disguised with fake grass in his bushes. Yeah, people are doing this shit. West Covina, California. A Southern California homeowner is worried he's being targeted after finding a hidden camera camouflaged with fake grass on his property. Dead serious. The homeowner tells our sister station ABC7 Eyewitness News in Los Angeles he found the camera hidden in the hedges of his West Covina home on East Cortez Street on Friday night. He said he was watering them after dark when he noticed a red light coming from one of the bushes. He investigated further only to find a well-hidden device facing his home covered in fake grass to blend in with the greenery. Police peeled back the facade, whatever, and found a camera that was being used to monitor the comings and goings of the man's house. Who exactly placed the camera and what their intentions were is unknown. This was hidden. This has been a growing trend, not just in West Covina, but in other areas around Southern California, where burglars place cameras. Burglars are placing cameras in the yards to keep an eye on houses and see when people leave their homes. So, folks, this is getting serious. This is getting crazy. In the past year, the camera disguised as a flower was found in Chino Hills, and cameras camouflaged into landscaping were found in Alberta, Santa Barbara, and Lost Hills. Investigators have linked the use of cameras to burglary tourism groups visiting South America, from South America with the sole intention of committing crime. So illegal immigrants, that's what this is. And they're getting very sophisticated. So check your surrounding areas of your home. Look for cameras. You never know, folks. You never know. That's why I say locked and loaded. My wet dream is to catch a burglar. Yeah. Yes. All right, folks. I hope you liked the show today. Please share, like, and hit the notification buttons. Use your thumb and just hit the notification button. We got to break the algorithms. All right, folks. I'm doing my best to bring it to you. ninoscorner.tv is going to be fire. And it's fire right now. If you go there right now, it's fire. I'll be having SGN on. And Juan, as soon as he lands, we'll continue this conversation. Who's going to be the first arrest? And we all know who the reporter is that said they're going dark. I saw them in the comments. But lots of stuff going on, folks. Lots of stuff. And people are getting ready. They're packing their suitcases, loading up their briefcases, and getting ready to go down south to start reporting on what's coming. And there's not going to be any way the media can hide from this. You're seeing a lot with Beto O'Rourke. You're seeing a lot with Kamala Harris. They're just so misinformed. I think clickety clank is coming for them as well. Just my opinion. I think there's no one that's going to be able to escape this, in my opinion. So it's coming for this is going to be the most massive takedown in history. It's kind of like when Rudy Giuliani took down the mob. This is going to just eclipse that leaps and bounds. Trump means business. Remember, they took a shot at him. Very personal now. Very personal. Bye-bye, Deep State. It's coming. All right, folks. I'll see you at Nino'sCorner.tv. Thank you. Peace out. And the new heavyweight champion of podcasting and the black sheep of broadcasting, folks. I'm out of here.